This video is going to walk us through the student view of feedback through the My Grades, where an assignment has feedback in the rubric as well as in the main comment area of the feedback for feedback to learner, which is not part of the embedded rubric. So if we scroll down to the graded assignment, we'll see here again we still have the same three areas where students can review various aspects of their feedback. They can view their rubric right here, they can view everything through by clicking on the name of the assignment here, and they can view just the feedback to learner section that's not part of the embedded rubric here by clicking on this quotation icon. So if we start there, we'll see this pop up. Now what we'll see is that we have the text to overall feedback, which the instructor has marked here, is this first paragraph. But then we see that also what has automatically transferred here after these three asterisks is the text in rubric feedback box. So this has been typed into the rubric area at the very bottom after all of the critical elements, where you can again write feedback to learner. So anything that's typed there will come in here after anything that's typed in this text box. So those are the three areas where faculty can give feedback, and this is how students will see it. So if you give feedback in the main area that's not part of the rubric, and then again in the feedback to learner box that is part of the rubric, students will see both here. So that's just a reminder not to be redundant in those two areas, otherwise they'll just see it twice and think that perhaps you made a mistake or you know, some sort of error, and we don't want to lose credibility with our students. So we can close that out, and then quickly we'll view the rubric, and we'll see that same comment that we saw after the asterisks at the bottom here. So there are notes in each of the critical elements. Those again are not going to transfer to any of the feedback to learner areas, since these are in the specific critical elements that students could read to see why they scored the way that they scored on each of those elements. And then all the way to the bottom, again, is the feedback to learner box. So we saw this same sentence pop up at the bottom of the other feedback to learner box that's not part of the rubric. So anything typed here will automatically get put on the bottom there. So do just keep that in mind. We can exit that. And now we can look at the entire assignment feedback. So students click on the name of the assignment here. They'll be able to see the work that they submitted. They'll be able to see this feedback to learner, which again is not part of the embedded rubric. This feedback to learner is available on any assignment in Blackboard. So some faculty will need to use this if they don't have an embedded rubric. If you do have an embedded rubric, you could still use this area, or you can use the areas in the rubric itself. So here's the overall text that the instructor provided. And again, we can see at the bottom, if we look here, it does not show up. It only shows up on that quotation icon. So that's a good thing to note, that if we scroll all the way down here, we don't see those asterisks actually. We only see what was typed in here by the instructor. So the only place where those things come together, the feedback to learner from the rubric itself and the feedback to learner from this main page, are in that little quotation icon. So again, if students are using that quotation icon, we might not want to be redundant in these two places, because if they do use that area, it's going to look like we made some sort of mistake. And then from here, they can still click on their rubric, which is this box up here, View Rubric. And again, we see the same thing we saw before when we clicked on View Rubric. We see the comments and the elements, if those have been provided. They, of course, have been provided here. And then we see that one-line comment here, text in rubric feedback box. So again, the only places where those are combined, it looks like, is in that quotation area, that quotation icon area that students see, where it does bring those both together. But if they go to if they go to the main assignment where they can see all the feedback, those will not be combined. So it's just in this quotation box where those two feedback to learner boxes will be combined into one.